My name is Lisa Hallett, and I am the co-founder of Wear Blue, Run to Remember. And it's humbling to be in a room of so many strong women. And I'm absolutely in awe of the caliber of speakers who are here tonight. Their tenacity, their brilliance, and their grit. So I just ask you to be a little bit patient with me as my path is a little bit more ordinary. And I share that because I know that what I have done and what I have overcome is nothing compared to what you can achieve. I have faced tragedy and now walk on the other side of some of my darkest moments. But the reality is that each one of us in this room is going to face some sort of hard in our lives. That is uncontrollable. What we can control is how we respond to that hard, how we choose to live with determination, perseverance, and hope. But I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself. Like any good story, we have to go back to the beginning. And my family begins with me marrying a very handsome West Point graduate who was my best friend and my role model, John Hallett. You can tell by those ears, but John was this goofy, red-headed water polo player who grew up in my hometown with me. He's known me since I was 5, which made for a few awkward years. But together we hiked, we traveled, we organized, we laughed, we ran, and we were blessed with 3 healthy, happy, beautiful children. Jackson, Bryce, and Heidi. That middle one, she's trouble, but she's going to be my ticket to Hollywood. This is John. John was an inspired leader who had a tireless work ethic, who cared passionately for both his soldiers and his family. He was a fierce warrior with a compassionate heart. John took command of an infantry striker unit in November of 2008. The following summer, John deployed to southern Afghanistan with his brigade. And like any good Army story, 3 weeks after John left, our daughter Heidi was born. And 3 weeks after that, I headed to my first military family meeting of the deployment. I remember I felt really good about myself. The boys were with the babysitter, and it was my first time really getting out of the house. It's my first time not wearing maternity clothes, so I felt extra good that day. But I marched right up to the front of the classroom, and I spread out my papers, and I set down Heidi next to me when I felt a tap on the shoulder. It was Frankie. He's one of John's soldiers and the rear detachment commander. And I remember I was pretty flip. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" Frankie was less flip. He said, "Lisa, you should come with me, and you should bring your papers." So I gathered my papers, and I picked up Heidi. And I remember we had to walk across this big grass field. I kept asking Frankie, almost demanding. I said, "Tell me John's okay. Tell me John's okay." But Frankie's face was impassive. He took me to the battalion classroom, and there were 2 gentlemen in green suits waiting for me. The gentleman on the right had a white piece of paper. It was a script, and he read it. "The Secretary of Defense regrets to inform you that your husband, Captain John L. Hallett, is believed to have perished in the fires." And I stopped listening. They said believed. I had a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a brand new baby who my husband had never met. They had to be wrong. They weren't wrong. John had been killed on his way home from a goodwill mission to a village with a cholera outbreak. August 25th, 2009. He was killed with 3 other brave soldiers. It became a deployment that claimed 41 lives. And my world was rocked. I turned to the coping mechanism that I had leaned on throughout John's military career, running. It was a tangible accomplishment in a world that felt totally out of control. I pounded the pavement, the sorrow for all the dreams and the love I'd lost. Pounded the pavement for the fears I now had for the future. The pound of the pavement, the strength, the pound of the pavement, just in the stress of raising 3 children without the strength, love, and guidance of their father. But I wasn't alone. A fellow military spouse, Erin O'Connor, was quickly at my side. She had brought me dinner when Heidi was born, and 3 weeks later brought me dinner when John had been killed. And I remember standing in my kitchen, and she says to me, "Lisa, whatever you need, we're going to get through this. We're going to run through this." She was there for me, and we absolutely ran through it. We tackled all of our long runs together that year. And slowly, the brigade community on home soil began to join our steps. And what began with 10 women gathering in a Burger King parking lot to go for a run as a simple act to just cope and support one another quickly grew into something much larger. Wear Blue, Run to Remember was born. The mission of Wear Blue, Run to Remember is to build a running community that honors the service and sacrifice of the American military. Now, six years after its inception, every week, thousands of runners across the world run in blue. Saturday runs are the crux of who we are and what we do. We gather, we circle, we bow our heads. We call out the names of the brave men and women who've given their lives in service to our country. And then we run. We run to heal, to grieve, to cope, to find strength, to give strength, and to celebrate. We run for the fallen, for the fighting, for the families. But why running? The legacy of death is life. And in the face of service members who've given their all, we are called upon to live with our all. And nowhere is this more present than in the strides of a long run. When you go out for a 20-mile run and you hit mile 13, you're tired, you're sore, you're hungry, bored, maybe a little angry. But that's the point you want to quit. The problem is, if you quit at mile 13, I can almost guarantee you, you are stuck, and stuck in the middle of nowhere. The same is true in life. When life throws us heartbreak and challenge and tragedy, we want to quit. We want to give up. But again, if we quit, we're stuck. And we're stuck in the middle of nowhere. We have to persevere. We have to let those challenges, that heartbreak, that tragedy, become the catalyst for dynamic growth and movement forward. We have to choose to be better and not bitter. Wear Blue, Run to Remember is made of thousands of inspiring stories of men and women who have chosen to persevere. And I want to share with you the stories of 3 women. Mary Bradshaw. Mary Bradshaw is a retired Army nurse. Her son, First Lieutenant Brian Bradshaw, was killed in Afghanistan on June 25th, 2009. Mary came to Wear Blue looking for an active and healthy community that was authentically military. On the 2-year anniversary of Brian's death, Mary walked her first half marathon wearing blue. 4 years later, Mary is chasing her next full marathon PR, running quite a bit faster than men and women half her age. She's incredible. The woman on the right, holding the flag, is Sergeant First Class Megan Malloy. Megan is the real deal, a true American hero. She's served 4 combat tours. She's lost soldiers, leaders, friends, and it's been hard coming home. Before her 4th tour to Afghanistan, she became good friends with First Lieutenant Jenny Moreno. And as they sat on their cots at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, they made big plans to run the Bataan Memorial Marathon. Jenny didn't make it home from that deployment. Megan uses running as a way to deal with the hard. And in Wear Blue, she has found a community who understands her. She has found the place to connect with others, to remember, and to move forward. 3 weeks ago, Megan pinned Jenny's name to the back of her ruck, and she completed the Bataan Memorial Marathon, just like she and Jenny had planned. Krista Simpson. Krista came to her first Wear Blue run days after her husband, Staff Sergeant Michael Simpson, was killed overseas. What I think is extraordinary was that in her raw, most vulnerable of moments, she was able to walk into a community who not only understood, but honored her family's immense sacrifice. And what I think is the most special is that as Krista stood in that opening circle of remembrance and received the strength from the men and the women community, I know that she was absolutely giving strength to men and women facing challenges of their own. Every runner in the Wear Blue community has his or her own story, but what we all share is an unquenchable desire to heal, survive, and thrive. And I know that in our opening circle of remembrance and the steps of our runs, we're learning to stand on our own, but not be alone. Military families sacrifice a great deal, and sometimes they sacrifice everything. Our gift, our responsibility to fallen service members is to remember them and to remember how profound their sacrifice was to our great nation. Together as a Wear Blue community, we celebrate the lives of these men and women. We respect those still in uniform. We support the communities waiting back home. And we hold up those left behind. My husband, John, he was extraordinary. And I'm ordinary. But I have seen the other side of tragedy. And I know that when life gets hard and ugly and we want to quit, just like mile 13 of that 20-mile run, it's when we have to dig deep. We have to find our grit, and we have to persevere. Because what is waiting for us on the other side is absolutely worth it. Thank you.